No sauce, is that what you
No sauce. There's no sauce. No juice. No electric. Yeah, it's 7 right now. Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2. Sure these are on?
I'm positive.
Um,
You're not playing through the gallery, so we don't get feedback, but
Oh, okay.
it's live.
All right, I don't know. Thought
But
they
we
couldn't
are
hear in the-
live.
Thought they couldn't hear in the back. All right, is everybody ready?
Let's do this.
I'd like to call the Oglesby City Council meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Aldridge.
Here.
Udis.
Here.
McDermott.
Here.
Stefani.
Here.
Curran.
Here, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Number 4, public comment on agenda items only. Surprising. Okay. Seeing that there are none, we'll move on. Number 5, approved minutes from the February 5th, 2024 City Council meeting and executive session. If there's no changes, additions, or removals, can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Aldridge.
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Stefani.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye. Number 6, approve bills as presented for payment in the amount of $546,490.37. If there's no changes or removals or additions, I can get a motion to approve.
I have comment. The reason that they're elevated this time around is because there's an IMEA payment in there, so that's why they appear elevated. I'll make a motion to approve the bills.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Aldridge.
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Stefani.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye. Number 7, approve February 16th, 2024 payroll in the amount of $105,581.12.
I'll make a motion to approve the payroll.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Aldridge.
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Stefani.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye. Number 8, approve the engagement letter with Hopkins and Associates for the 2024 audit. Stefanelli.
For the council's information, this is to contract Hopkins and Associates to perform our annual audit, which is required by law. For the council's understanding, all directives with the auditing firm will go through accounts and finance to avoid any problems like we found in the past with management letters and that kind of thing. So unless you guys have any questions for me, I'll go ahead and, any questions?
Any questions?
Okay, I make a motion to approve the contract services of Hopkins and Associates for the annual audit, and that all directives and oversight be performed by and presented to the council by accounts and finance as is required by the municipal code.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Aldridge.
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Stefani.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye. Number 9, place on file engineering agreements with Chamblins and Associates for projects. McDermott.
Okay, I have a speaker about this. If Ross, thank you. Should be right on the bottom.
There's a button.
Yeah, as long as the button's up, you're good.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. My name is Ross Baker with Channel Associates. At the request of Commissioner McDermott, we have included 4 proposed engineering services agreements for the city to consider for 4 separate water main replacement projects. These are 4 projects that 3 of them are in the same area in town, but basically these were identified by the city as being areas of particular concern just with the age of the water mains existing there, pressure issues, lack of valves, lack of hydrants, lack of lubing, which is important for maintaining good water service. So at the direction of the city, we prepared these engineering services agreements, cost estimates, which you have included, for your consideration. The big push with, whether or not the council wants to pursue these projects comes down to the funding question as usual. Having projects that are bid ready or close to it and that are permitted, can really help with going after grants specifically. Having a bidable project gives you cost certainty. It gives you a competitive advantage when you're going after grants or loans because you're showing the funding agency that you're ready to go out to bid as soon as they award you a grant. So that's where these projects are coming from. I'd be happy to take any questions you have about them. Tonight is just to put them on file. Once again, we broke them down kind of into 4 separate projects. The main reason we did that is it gives the city flexibility when you go to apply for the grant. So if a grant was, say, $500,000 and you have one single project that you project will be in that ballpark, you can then just use that one straight away. Say if you got a grant for $1 million and you have 2 projects that add up to something close to $1 million, then you can easily combine those and maximize granting opportunities. So, yeah, with that, I'll take any questions.
I guess I do have a couple. You know, I recognize a lot of these projects as ones I knew that were on our list of things that we needed, particularly the ones with the dead end loops. We wanted to loop the area near the school down there. The concern I do have though is we have several other ones that are fully designed all the way out, and we're waiting for opportunities for grant opportunities on. For example, the only ones I could think of off the top of my head was North School. Because we put that up to the senator a couple times when they asked for grant opportunities.
Right.
And one of the other ones that we specifically did because we were hoping it would fit into the community block development grant program, which was on Durant Street, I believe.
Okay.
So the city has already paid for all of those engineering, not construction obviously, but at
Sure.
least all the design things. So my concern is, and those are just the 2 that I know of. I think, I want to say I don't know if we did the one for the water line under the dry bridge yet, or if that was just in preliminary.
That one's on the agenda.
That's on the agenda tonight.
The water line under the dry bridge?
Next item, Jason.
It's number 10. on
That's the
the
Number
next
agenda.
item.
10.
Okay, that's the
seeking
next one.
bids.
Yep, that's the next one. But as far as so that's what I'm saying, so we have all those designs for that one already, that's one of the 3 there. And then I'm not sure if we had something else with Columbia and stuff like that. So my point is, the city has a lot of sitting there, fully designed out engineering things for water stuff, we're waiting for grant opportunity. My question, I guess, is, and this is maybe, we're just putting it on file tonight, but my question is, do we need to add 4 more projects to that list if we haven't got the other ones done yet? That's my question.
The one that I'm familiar with is School Avenue, and I think, like you mentioned, the funding fell through on that one. I don't see a reason why that one couldn't be easily revived and put out in the same way that these ones would be. And once again, that's part of the reason why we split these into 4 kind of, bite-sized chunks, so that the city, it's totally up to the board. Do you want to pursue all 4 at one time? How do you want to do it? And so, from our standpoint, we're just trying to give you numbers for each one, and then let you guys make a decision on what the priorities are, I guess.
Yeah, my thoughts would be that, and if one of these has changed, because that does happen, we found that with the culverts. Remember, like, we were looking at all the plans for what we're doing for the city, and then with that massive rainstorm we had a couple years ago, the culverts were in danger of washing out completely.
Right.
So that made that a higher priority to be able to take care of any other thing else in motor fuel tax funds. With these, if something has happened to where it is now deteriorated as a higher priority over like Durant or North School or the water main under the dry bridge, then it's a different story. But I don't know if that's happened. Do you know if that is the case, that something's happened, that these are now a higher priority over the other ones?
The one specifically I would mention is the East End water main. That one has been identified as it's old and it has asbestos insulation,
Yeah.
which just makes it a real pain to try to repair both quickly and dollar-wise and labor-wise. I mean, it's a real bear. So, I mean, if you're looking for, say, one of these projects as being the most important or having a high priority to other projects, it would definitely be that one. Not to minimize the issues with the other projects, but that one specifically, could be a big issue down the road.
Yeah.
Did you have something you wanted to say, Jim?
If I could add, the North School is a problem for funding because it doesn't fall into low to moderate income
Yep.
level, and the funding is typical. You would have to get something special from your senators, or you fund it yourself. The Dry Bridge one is a necessary project because it's attached to the Walnut Street Bridge, which is scheduled for deck replacement this fall. So
Yes.
that's why that one's out there. I want to get that one out for bid. The North Schools, why it hasn't been funded.
I think Durant, I thought we did that one specifically because it was in that low to moderate income, but there was a problem with that.
I saw your email had the cost estimate. We couldn't find what projects in. That was an AEA project
Yeah.
on AEA letterhead. So AEA, we didn't acquire their files until January of '21. So that was more than 3 years ago, and we couldn't find their plans or what project was associated with that cost estimate. So if you want to help us with that, that's fine. But
My understanding is we looked at that one because we were looking for one that fit directly in that low to moderate income block. If we could get it, but then there ended up being another problem, another red tape flag of when it didn't work out, so.
The other three on that list also fall in for NCICT grant with the Durant and Fitzgerald. So, and we did spoke with them last year and they recommended we get those.
when we spoke with Shug this spring, the numbers were low this year, just how the funding was gonna go, she thought it would be a lot higher next year, so that's why we did in this 3 small projects, like Ross said, we can combine 2 to make it the big one to get maximize the funding, or we can pick the worst case one and go after it for
I believe, if, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, what we're basically saying is, guys, if we separate them in 4 separate, and let's say we get a bigger grant, we can combine 2 or 3 or 1, whatever we need. Makes it more flexible, makes us more grant acceptable. Okay? Does that make sense? Well, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Any more questions for Ross, or? If there is no more questions, I'd like to place on file engineering agreements with Chandler and Associates for projects.
That was a motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Aye.
Udis. McDermott.
Aye.
Stefani.
Aye.
Kern.
Aye. Number 10, seek bids for the Dry Bridge water main relocation. McDermott.
Okay, Jim kind of touched on this. This fall, we did talk to Bootsy, and we're looking to seek bids for the Dry Bridge water main relocation. This has to be done, guys. We got to get it done before they start working on the bridge. I mean, it's basically a no-brainer. Looking to,
Just to retouch on that, so in case anybody didn't
Yeah,
understand what the
fin
reason
open.
for that was, that bridge, you see the deck beam there, that was failing us, that's why it's got the little pylons there. That actually has the water line for the entire east side of town strapped to that,
strap to the
strapped to
bridge.
the actual beam that's gotta get replaced even. So that's why this has been such a long term. I think we petitioned in front of the county to get that bridge. It was almost, might have even been over 4 years ago. It was a long time waiting for that. So we're still working on the easements from Bootsy's. We secured the one from Chippy's.
Right.
And then as soon as we can get that, we're looking to get that water line underneath the dry bridge, so it'll never be attached to the bridge again. I mean, that's where everybody gets their water at on the entire east side of town.
Right, and it's got to be done before they start working on the bridge, so. If there isn't any questions, I'd like to seek bids for the Dry Bridge water main relocation.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Aye.
Udis. McDermott.
Aye?
Stefani.
Aye.
Kern.
Aye. Number 11, place on file the recommendation from the Zoning Board of Appeals, Babs Brew. Okay, so there's a series of these coming up. Zoning Board of Appeals, Design Review Board, and Plan Commission. I don't know if we want to just handle them all at once or talk about it as one unit. I know that's why there's a lot of people here tonight. Each one of these boards and committees met. They all had positive things to say. They all made a positive recommendation. The only one that had some complexities was the Design and Review Board. They have some things in there, according to theirs, they did recommend to approve it, but they recommended to approve it with the recommendations of them to, I don't have the letter in front of me, but it's to make sure the specifications are met for all the things they have. Does anybody like to talk about this or concerns or anything?
Is it basically just the siding, instead of having vertical, having it horizontal on that storage shed? Is that the biggest issue?
I don't have the letter in front of me, but I heard there was a problem with the material type.
If I can jump in here, I think we should take them one at a time,
Okay.
because with regard to the zoning board recommendations, we're gonna need to adopt an ordinance to formalize those. So I think we should at least take those separately. And the zoning board of appeals met on the 12th and recommended to grant a variance to eliminate the necessity of tree planting, to recommend a variance to eliminate the requirement that the accessory structure, the shed that's being built there, is subordinate in terms of area, extent, use, etc. And then the third variance they recommended to grant was to exempt them from stormwater management facilities, because really not much is going to change on that lot that is not already existing there. So those are the three recommendations, and if the board wants to approve those variances, it's your final call, then I'll draft an ordinance and bring it to the next meeting.
Okay. Ms. Waters, I know I talked to you earlier today, and you said you would, did you want to come and talk about anything about it at all, a little bit to the council?
About the project,
I know you said you had a board or something like that.
yeah, we do. We had a few things, I think I'll just talk first and then. So everybody can kind of see. I'll just
You're
hold it up first.
fine.
All right, I don't really know, okay. Only 5'2", so. Okay, so my name's Lindsay, my mom's a Brennan, I'm part of the Brennans, and I'll be part owner of the coffee. City council, residents of Oglesby, and fellow business owners. Today, I come to you with a humble request to consider how opening up a coffee trailer on a corner could be a positive force for our town. Growing up in Oglesby myself, I've always been struck by the warmth and resilience of our community. And yet, like any town, we face challenges and opportunities alike. That's why I believe that opening up a coffee trailer would be a good thing for Oglesby. It's not about serving up caffeinated beverages, it's about creating a space where people can come together, connect, and forge meaningful relationships. It's about revitalizing a corner of our town that may have been overlooked and infusing it with new energy and vitality. But the benefits of this coffee trailer extend beyond the social sphere. It's also an opportunity to stimulate economic growth, attract visitors to our town, and support local businesses. By investing in our community this way, we can create a ripple effect of prosperity that touches every corner of Oglesby. I understand the importance of preserving the unique charm of our community, and I assure you that our coffee trailer will only enhance that. We are not here to disrupt or detract from what makes our town special. We are only here to complement it, to add another layer of richness to the fabric of our community. A coffee trailer adds to the diversity of our culinary landscape without overpowering it. It complements the existing businesses in our town, offering something different yet equally essential. We hope that whether you are grabbing a quick cup on your way to work or lingering over a latte with friends, the coffee trailer will become a fundamental part of our daily rhythm. The benefits of bringing sewer and water to this area cannot be overstated. Not only will it support the operation of the coffee trailer, but it will also improve the overall infrastructure of our town. It's an investment in our future, signaling to residents and visitors alike that we are committed to progress and growth as a town. So to each of you, I urge you to embrace this opportunity to bring a touch of warmth and hospitality to our streets. Let's welcome the coffee trailer with open arms, knowing that it will not only satisfy our caffeine cravings, but also foster a sense of belonging and camaraderie in our beloved small town. It's time to breathe new life into this forgotten space. Thank you for your attention, and here's to hopefully an exciting new adventure. Cheers.
Thank you. That was well put. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
You're kind.
Last meeting, I was at work, but I did call in, so I was hearing on speaker, but I know you guys someone asked for signs, the enter and exit that we were gonna have showing. So we just added, just some mock-ups, we don't have them made yet, but we'll probably just get them off of Vistaprint, they're super easy. Another thing you guys asked, of the mocha color, so you guys were asking for like an actual picture of the mocha color coffee trailer. That'll be, love it. Another thing you guys asked was specific, you asked for specifics on like the flower pots and stuff like that, yeah, so there will be, it is actually small. So these circle ones you see here on wheels, down on the bottom there, will be, kind of sporadic throughout. Those are flowers. And then these ones here, the bigger ones, they kind of come up to this height, those will be surrounding the trailer on the back. We plan to push up, not push up, but kind of support the trailer with some blocks. And we're gonna get those, and then these will kind of cover those on the side. Yeah, look at that trailer. This is that's the trailer. These are the flower pots, the lights, and tables.
Okay. A little concerned when you said it on blocks. That always concerns me a little bit, but if the design review board took a look at it and they're good with it. What I'm excited about is how you presented that. It is true. It's an area that is very visible in the city, and it's kind of a forgotten spot. Don't get me wrong, I know there's been a lot of discussion and talks about having a brick and mortar place there, but I think when it comes to economic development, it's important to realize that not everything is what you want the next day, right? Everything's a stepping stone. And I think this is a great opportunity to have a business there that will get a lot of recognition, hopefully a lot of use, hopefully it's profitable. But the big thing is I want it to look, if it looks beautiful, with like nice bistro tables and stuff like that. I think it'd make a nice place and good ambiance in the city and enhance other economic opportunities. So that was a good presentation. Anybody else have any questions for them or anything like that?
Well, I think it was a good presentation. I understand this is still a trailer, and we don't have any ordinance or anything for food trucks, correct?
We do.
We do, yeah.
And what does the ordinance say?
We would have to modify that ordinance in order to make this acceptable. The last I knew, is that correct, Pat?
Yeah.
And we talked about a few different specifics, if I recall. One was the stipulation that the trailer owns the property that it sits on,
Correct.
that it is hooked to city services, and there was a third one. It's a while ago since I came up with this.
You're fine.
I'm
You're
trying
getting
to
on it. That's
to
exactly what I
recall.
wanted to hear.
Do you remember what that third one was?
There was a couple
Jason?
categories. There was the categories of like special events that we have now. There was the category you're talking about where somebody would come and they'd be on the property they own, hooked into actual services. And then there's one where somebody wants to come and have access to park somewhere and do something that was gonna be a much higher fee.
I
thought
want
there was
this
a
to be an
fourth category.
exemption, is
Want it to be an exemption.
what I think we were looking
But
at.
but
when
as
we
of right
talked.
now, do we have in writing everything?
We would have to modify our existing ordinance to allow this usage, but how many food trucks are gonna own the property they sit on? And how many of them are gonna be hooked permanently to city utilities?
Well, I think if you bring that up, a lot of people would consider doing that.
Well, if they own the property, it's a difference.
Yeah.
I just think that there's a couple different categories we should look at. Right now, the only way we really utilize food trucks in the city is for when we have special events and we ask them to come here, whether it's Fun Fest or Eats in the Streets or Harvest Fest or something like that. I think there needs to be a couple other categories as well, because I know some of the people have talked about the concerns is the city doesn't bring in the same amount of revenue when it comes to like property taxes and things like that. So to me, if you are coming in here where you don't have sales tax for the city or something like that, and you're set up on one side of the street or something like that, that is a very different situation than if you own the property, you pay the utilities, you bring sales tax into the city. The only thing you're not having is the brick and mortar on the actual. So I think we need to have a category for that.
Then-
I agree 100%.
Then should we do that before we approve this, or?
I think Pat was gonna come back next meeting with something like this drafted for us to approve. I think we're just placing on file.
This is the first time I'm hearing that request.
Well,
There-
I would like to
Tony, may
see
I
something in
say
writing
something?
before we
So there
approve
was,
this.
there is a draft of something out there. I don't,
Give me a second.
that,
As soon as I get the floor.
Andrew
I'll-
might have been the attorney at the time.
Yeah, I've never heard
So-
anything about this. I
so-
did look into the existing ordinance, Terry, a year ago, probably,
I know we discussed it
yeah.
briefly.
So at least 3 years ago, there was a time period where we were gonna do something with, there was a lot of concern with this funnel cake guy that was coming into town. And we were working on something, and then the funnel cake guy ended up leaving, and then, of course, it all got dropped, and nothing ever happened with it ever again. So there is a draft somewhere of some of this stuff. I have to dig it up, see if we can find it.
Have you seen it, Becky?
I have.
In your
Can
record
we
somewhere?
get it?
Can you find it or no?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, it was just a draft, though.
May I say something, though?
Please.
Absolutely.
We met with Kelly, gosh, back in June or July, and discussed her project to determine at that point whether it was a food truck or a semi-permanent building. And our code really doesn't address semi-permanent buildings, but after our discussions and how she wanted that to be treated, that's what we came up with.
Yeah.
We have just put her through a very long process to get to this point. So to start talking about a food truck ordinance and how it pertains to this project is probably not fair to her. You have 3 recommendations from 3 different boards tonight to consider. And hopefully you wouldn't put her off for another day.
That was not my intention
Okay,
to
yeah.
stonewall her
No,
at all.
no,
That-
I was-
I
I'm looking
understand.
for her to
Not our intention.
succeed. I
Yeah.
just
But
want
we
to
need
make
to
that
do
clear
it
for the
right.
record that
I was gonna say that basically, I understand all that because I do believe this food truck thing, because it's come up a couple times and stuff like that, this is the opportunity to kind of talk about it, because if we don't talk about it now, we probably won't talk about it again. But I was gonna mention that when we talked about like the pit and where the sewer and all that stuff like that was coming in, that this is more of a semi-permanent structure, so it's not really the same as a food truck,
I agree.
so. All right, any other discussion?
Oh, I just don't want them to be taking it the wrong way.
Questions, concerned? So we have some recommendations.
I think you should take them one at a time, Jason, and see whether the board approves the variances recommended by the zoning board of appeals first.
Okay, because the only one that was interesting was the design and review board, actually. Okay,
The design and review board's the only one in question, right?
that's the only one that had some stipulations on a couple things. Everything else was, they had a positive recommendation to approve.
The questions have been resolved.
Yes.
So we need a motion to approve Babs Brew variance request at number 12.
Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve Babs Brew variance requests.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge,
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
McDermott,
Aye.
Stefani,
Aye.
Kern.
Aye. All right, next item was to place on file the recommendations from the design review board of Babs Brew. So this one had some stuff in there that the version that I have written here is that they had some recommendations that they wanted to make sure were completed. My understanding is as of today, those, if it's actually built to the specifications as what they approved, then there should be no issues, is my understanding. Is that everybody understood as well as?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I could get the floor at this point, I just want to say that for me, the big sticking point was going through the process because all the other businesses have had to do that. So for me, it was important for my vote that you guys go through the process, and I really appreciate that you did, and provided everything. And you know, just on the city's end, I just want to say that we did turn around things in a timely manner. We tried to schedule the meetings as quick as possible. So I just want to say thank you for going through the process and dotting the i's and crossing the t's. It's never a fun thing, but it's part of what keeps a good neighborhood a good neighborhood.
Okay. Anything else? If I can get a motion.
I'll make
Oh, go ahead, Tony.
a motion.
What are we doing here, though? We're doing the recommendation, place on file the recommendation, or we're approving the design?
You're approving
Variances.
We approved the variances, now we're approving
the design.
the
Okay.
design. As approved by the design and review.
I'll second that.
We don't have a first.
I motion.
First,
Sorry,
second,
Tony, I
by
didn't hear you.
Udis. Okay. Roll call, please.
Baldridge,
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
McDermott,
Aye.
Stefani,
Aye.
Kern.
Aye. The next item is to place on file the recommendations of the Plan Commission by Babs Brew. There is this number 16 here. That one is in error. The council actually does not approve the site plan of Babs Brew. That's actually done by the Plan Commission. So for us, it's just to place on file the recommendations of the Plan Commission. So, and what they are is, they look at the overall scope of the project to see if it falls in line with what our comprehensive plan is and that kind of stuff, and they had a favorable recommendation for it. Any questions, concern, or comments on that?
I know it might be too late to ask, but I gotta ask. Kelly, you're requesting water and sewer. Are you asking the city to help finance this, or what are we looking at?
Well, I've done a lot of research the last few days on the TIF district and like what that can mean. I have it in Utica for some, a project that I did there. And so I went to the office today actually, trying to get more information on it. I also received a letter today about the March 4th meeting on, would it be TIF 6, I believe?
Isn't that on March
So
4th?
I got the letter today in the mail for that property about a new tip. I spoke at length with Gwen from her client's office. We are asking for help for the water and sewer. We did get a bid and we submitted it for $27,000, and then we had John Fuller break it up so that we knew that bringing it to the corner, to the commercial corner, was 21, and our portion, once it got to the corner to the unit, and the appropriate fashion was around 6 or 7. Then the electric is another 4 or 5,000. So being that we've already put almost 80,000 into this project, yes, we are asking for some help with the infrastructure part. The
And-
water sewer also,
Okay.
just to be clear, it's our understanding that the city can't find the water sewer that used to go to that property. Back when the previous owner had it, and it was a shop, and it had a little gas station there, and when they took out the tanks, apparently it was not preserved, the water and sewer to that property. So being that, John Pohar even wrote in his email with his bid and said that if the city could locate those previous lines, that it would be significantly cheaper to do. So yes, we are asking for help for the 21,000. I mean, I have an application from Gwen for the TIF, to submit, for everything, but, yes, I'm asking for, I know the TIF can go a couple different ways, upfront and then in payments. For mine, I get payments.
To be fair,
Okay.
so we communicated on Thursday, and I have that new estimate that I said I don't think the council's seen before, and I did share that out with them, but that information has not made it to the agenda here yet. So in all fairness, it'd be a little unfair for me to try to launch into a discussion to ask people what they think live of of splitting those costs. But I will tell you it is being considered right now. The other thing you made a mention with the TIF is that used to be in TIF 1. TIF 1 no longer exists. It is one of the areas that is being considered right now that we're putting back into TIF 6. Same thing as that site, but all the sites that are in like the downtown district that would not have a TIF funding option. But that is actually many months away from probably being finalized though. So, but I will tell you, your information is to the council, and there is a discussion about it, and I will likely have it on the next agenda for discussion, but it was not on this one, unfortunately.
Correct. The mayor and I actually had a discussion about that and a couple other proposals. I'm sure you'll want to talk to her later about that. I know we've had residents who have actually paid for their own water all the way to their house. I know you could say apples and oranges. I don't. To me, it's all the same. It's the city of Oglesby, guys.
I disagree. I think there's something completely different with a commercial establishment versus a residential. And also, I don't know how we're ever gonna market that corner unless we have services established there, whether it's Kelly or anybody else, whoever is gonna put infrastructure there. Without city services, nobody's gonna want that overhead to add to their project. And so it's just gonna sit there empty and look unattractive for,
Well, our
The next 100
neighborhood,
years.
neighborhoods are, got the same deal. They could look unattractive if they got a big area that nobody's sitting there and it clicks.
Just my opinion.
Grass.
So I think we're talking about two different things here. So Terry, I agree with your viewpoint on that corner. The part though that I think what you were trying to make the point to is when it comes to any business or resident or something like that that wants to
Treat them
develop,
the same.
it is the responsibility of the developer to pay all those type of costs. It is very common, obviously, that when a commercial property is coming, that they negotiate with the city to try to negotiate some kind of funding, like we did a big thing with GTI, obviously. This is what we have for the facade agreement, the facade grants and stuff like that, because we want businesses to come, we want them to expand. So this one is a bit unique. You know, people are talking about TIF a lot. This one does not. Whatever we put in there to help them with something like that, it's unique in the fact that it doesn't raise the tax increment because it doesn't raise the property value, which is a problem. However, I personally think that the value of that corner is so great that this is a unique apples and oranges situation, is what I think. But again, in all fairness, that wasn't on the agenda for discussion tonight, so I
Right.
won't ask everybody's opinion because it's kind of unfair to do so. But what is on the agenda, though, is to place on file the recommendations from the Plan Committee.
I'll make a motion to place on file the recommendations from the Plan Commission.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge,
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
McDermott,
Aye.
Stefani,
Aye.
Kern.
Aye. As I said, 16 was on in air. Number 17, approve raffle license for the American Legion. Any questions or concerns about this? If I can get a motion to approve the raffle
Make a
license.
motion to pass the raffle license for American Legion.
And I'll second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
McDermott,
Aye.
Stefani,
Aye.
Kern.
Aye. Old business, number 18, first one is IMEA Solar Farm Letter of Support, Curran. I put this on the agenda several months ago, and it kind of got held off because we wanted to talk about, I think you wanted to have the IMEA make a presentation on the solar farm. They did. They came and gave a very detailed, a little dry, but very detailed presentation on it. I think we had an opportunity to ask questions and have some dialogue with them. Is there any questions or concerns about this?
I have some concerns that I believe our attorney should look at, so I look at this time to have this item tabled.
Okay, can I ask what those concerns are, because that's news to me?
The ability to use that property.
Okay. Well, if you're aware, this was going to be built at one point in time. We had everything signed and completed, but then the contractor actually pulled out. So now there's no new contractor yet, and the IMEA still has to find a new which I'm hoping it's gonna be Altifer, because they already have business here in the city. But I guess I'm not sure I understand what your concern is. Have you had, Patty, have you two had a discussion on this yet?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so you're asking for
I'm
Barry
asking
to
for it to be tabled at this time.
tabled? So
Yeah, I
Barry
was
can
told
look
by
at it?
the IMEA at the meeting last week that they expected to have a new contractor approved here in the next couple of weeks.
That's what I'm saying. I think
Yeah.
we've had our time to ask those kinds of questions. You know, all this is not, keep in mind, this is not approving the final everything. This is just, I'm asking for authorization to sign a letter that says, hey, the city of Oglesby is very interested in this yet. Please continue to look for a vendor and contractor for us.
Well,
That's what this
Claims
is.
that this is a letter of support. Do you happen to have, I'm sure you do, any support from the local neighborhood over there?
I think that's a good point. I would like
Yeah.
to see something from the neighbors, because these are the kind of decisions that you make, and okay, they're a good decision until after the decision's made, and then everybody has an issue, so.
well,
I would like to, I mean, for my personal, I'm not against it, I'm just saying it would make me feel better voting on something if we had the residents who are gonna be affected come up and say, hey, yeah, we think this is okay for the neighborhood, we don't have a problem.
Well, Baldridge has got a question on it. I'm sure it's legit. I'll second that motion.
To table it?
Yes.
Okay, hold on, before we make a motion, does everybody have any other questions or concerns? Pat, did you have a chance to see what he's concerned about?
Regardless, I believe we tabled it and there was a second.
I'll address this with him, Jason.
Now or afterwards?
No, afterwards.
You recommend that we table then?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. There's a motion and a second to table. Pending the attorney's recommendation. Can I get a roll call, please?
Baldridge,
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
McDermott,
Aye.
Stefani,
Aye.
Kern.
Aye. All right, hopefully we can get whatever those concerns are answered, and we'll go from there. All right, next up, new business, number 19, authorized personnel signs at City Hall. So, hate to bring this up, but I feel I don't have a lot of choice for it in the matter. So, obviously, there's been contention with this whole office being moved downstairs and the conference room. After I had moved, I used to see 1 or 2 residents a day that would come in there. I think since the time I've been here, down there, there's been 2 residents that came. One came this morning, and then the other 2 I met upstairs. So there's a lot less people coming here, and I noticed the doors are shut now for everything. I asked, why are the doors being shut to downstairs? And I was told it's because fire code, got to maintain the fire code, okay? Even though the 4.5 years before, those doors have not really been shut, except for, arguably, but for the most part, they're open. So I started opening them back up. And then apparently, these signs started showing up on both of them. It says authorized personnel only. So I tore it off, because my question, I get the impression that we have an effort here to try to reduce people from being able to come and see the mayor comfortably. That's what I believe. I'm told it's a different reason. Does somebody else would like to talk about that?
I certainly would.
Okay.
I passed out to all of you the information from the Oglesby, Illinois Code of Ordinances, Department of Public Property duties. The Commissioner of the Department of Public Property shall have charge of and supervision over the city parks, playgrounds, pleasure grounds, city hall building, municipal pools, all plants, trees, and shrubbery contained on any public property, and all officers and employees used therein, except for the employees of the clerk's office, which shall be under the supervision and authority of the Commissioner of Accounts and Finances. The Commissioner of the Department of Public Property also shall have control and supervision over all public landfills. It's interesting that this has been brought up this evening. I think this is stuff that shouldn't go before the public because it's kind of petty. But since it's brought up, let's get into it. Story here is that Dom, the former mayor, came in and attempted to threaten to go downstairs to see the mayor and stated, "If I fall, I'll just sue the city." He had to be intercepted and guided to the conference room. As the commissioner having oversight of City Hall, I took the threat seriously and immediately placed authorized personnel only signs at both stairwells. The door leading downstairs has had an employees only sign on it for well over 20 years. Jason is now questioned as to why it should ever be closed, rendering that sign on the back of the door useless. I've requested going forward that everyone check in with the clerks at the front counter as to not be allowed anyone to be roaming freely, having access to any rooms they want to enter. When Jason came in and read the sign, like he said, he became enraged and immediately tore the sign off the door. He believes that he can allow anyone to roam freely, and he actually has the authority to destruct and steal public property. The fact of the matter is the ordinance clearly states, to clarify, the Commissioner of the Public Property shall have charge of and supervision over the City Hall building and all officers and employees used therein. It's about as clear cut as it can get and definitely allows for the installment of any signage deemed necessary without anyone else's approval, especially when installed for safety. Now, with that being said and cleared up without a doubt, I believe the only question that remains is why Jason shouldn't be held accountable for his illegal actions, the same as anyone else who committed this act would be. He wrote, "I took it down, I will continue to take it down as well. In fact, why don't we add it to the agenda? Becky, please add it to the agenda under new business, authorized personnel only signs at City Hall." He also wrote, "I have taken possession of the sign as I believe it to be grossly inappropriate. Sure, go ahead and report that I stole the sign. Don't worry. It will be present at the council meeting. At that point, I guess the council can determine what happens with it." He has admitted to committing 3 criminal acts: destruction of public property, theft, and possession of stolen property. Not only did he bring the stolen property as a theatrical prop, as he's known for, this evening, he also bragged, admitting via email, of committing said criminal acts and vowed to continue to take them down. This means he will continue to disregard our city ordinance as well as laws regarding destruction and theft. It's high time he's held accountable and responsible for his actions, his theatrics, ridiculous criminal behavior. I've had enough. We've had enough. At this point, I request this person be treated just the same as any other violator would be right now. Anyone else would be held accountable. As an elected official, especially the mayor, he should be held to a higher standard. He needs to be held accountable and should definitely know better than to act like this.
So, stolen, it's right here. Let me ask you,
Who told you to remove it?
who bought it?
We did.
Who's we?
Mac bought it. Why, was there,
So-
is there some sort of a law
Yeah,
that he
so-
can't buy it?
So it was personal property, it wasn't bought by city funds.
He was
right?
reimbursed
They
out of,
gave it to
he,
the city.
Okay, so the city-
he was reimbursed out of petty
So
cash
you're-
from the
you're-
clerk's
you're-
office because it was a
so-
Menards
so-
purchase.
So
Destruction of
why
public
was
property.
another commissioner that's not even,
Jason, I don't even think this question's relevant.
you don't think
at
it's
all.
relevant? You don't think
I,
it's
not
I have,
relevant.
I have
It
signs.
doesn't matter where
crazy.
it came from.
Ridiculous.
Thank you.
You guys are getting ridiculous.
Absolutely
Please.
ridiculous.
So, I will admit, I don't know why Mr. Rivera said that. He was probably very angry. I'm not saying I approve that he said something or whatever, but there's been a lot of times that somebody says something here and they're upset about something, because, for whatever the reason is. That office deals a lot of people that we have to shut off utilities to 10 people a month. You know, there's a lot of things that get said in here by that. And to me, there's a lot of things that get said up here as well. And I don't think we knee-jerk reaction. I think you looked at this as an opportunity going, oh, awesome.
Jason,
Let
I
me get
don't
a sign on
think
that
I
door.
need your
Hold on.
opinions on it. I'm not gonna take your false
Okay.
opinions. I took the opportunity at that time to take care of what happened. There was a threat.
Should I?
Somebody could actually fall down the stairs.
Boy, I wish
If we
I had-
don't have that sign, so just hold on, allow me the floor, Jason. I can say that. You can, but you come in and threaten to fall down the stairs, there's a good possibility you're gonna fall down the stairs. If we have a sign on that door, I believe it alleviates us a little bit from the insurance liability, and we can say, hey, we stopped them, we told them, hey, be careful on the stairs, no authorized personnel only. I don't agree that it was put up, and I know it wasn't put up that reason, because I did it. So you're trying to put words in my mouth and tell me what I'm doing, because you're always talking about conspiracy theories, and everybody's out to get you, and it's ridiculous. We're not.
Okay.
Put it up, it should have stayed up.
Okay.
All right.
So, hold on. So I really, since you read that email, I wish I could read the email to where you say, I don't have it in front of me though, but you said that Mr. Rivera was purposely going to throw himself down the stairs.
I never said throw. Get it right. If you're going to quote me, quote me.
He was purposely going to fall down the stairs. Did you
he
say that in your email?
Yes, that's what he said.
He
That's what I was
purposely-
told.
I have not heard that.
Okay, well, if you
Okay.
say you're gonna fall down the stairs and you're headed towards the stairs, what do you think? How do you
He
take
said
that?
if. Right. I'm not here to argue
here
the
to
semantics
argue
of
words
it.
with you.
Second thing is, you got authorized personnel on there. What about BB gun club? What about the parents and the kids and the grandparents that come and bring them? Are we in danger of them as well?
Okay, guys, I think we need to move on.
Well,
Really, come on.
I'm just saying, whatever you want to do
All
with the
right.
sign, it's up to you. It's not
That's it.
stolen.
I feel you should put it back on there.
Okay, well, I won't be putting it on there. I'm just gonna make a proclamation. If anybody wants to come see the mayor, which is
All right, I make a
me-
motion that we move
Oh,
on. Come on.
You gotta have,
Let's
you gotta
stop.
have the floor to close up.
Well, I'm asking for the floor to move on.
No, not yet. I'll make a proclamation. If anybody wants to come see the mayor, they're more than welcome to come see me if I'm in my office down there. I'm not gonna stop anybody from that. You don't have to check in with anybody. You don't have to get a permission.
I
You can
think,
come see me.
Jason,
So, all
I
right.
do think they
Now
should
we wanna
see the
talk.
clerk. but
What's that?
I feel personally they should check with the clerk's office.
If they want to, they can.
They should.
I'm not gonna make it a requirement by law, that they gotta do something like that, or a violation, or whatever.
So
Okay.
you're just gonna ignore the
Well,
ordinance?
let's move on. I'll make a motion that we move on.
Number 20, public comments over any topic. Okay. Number 21, commissioner report.
Nope, he's
Oh, I'm
got it.
sorry,
He's
I
on his-
apologize.
he's on his way.
I already looked down. Please go ahead.
Rich Grading.
Hey, Rich.
A couple months ago, I talked to you about Surf Internet, so nothing's really been done from what I've seen, so.
I do have an update on that, if you'd like me to give you that. I don't have an update as far as, what was the street name? It was Dale Street. I don't have an update on that.
Okay.
But I can read it to you right here. It was sent, believe it or not, 9 minutes before the thing. Sorry about the delay. We finally received our permits for Ottawa, which were delayed for months, and the RLM crew are returning to the area. I am planning to meet with them next week to review the remaining cleanup and any final tasks that need to be completed. And that was sent by their project manager that does this area and region.
Because Brennan's are trying to fix up the corner, so if you go to the old substation by the new fire department,
Mhm.
they've dumped all their stuff in there. So as soon as, before you even get to Brennan's corner that they're trying to fix up, all you see is all their stuff that they left, all their old conduit, all their, what they dug up, everything.
Where's it at, Rich?
In the old subdivision, or
Substation.
Substation.
by
Okay.
the.
Right
new
in front of
By the fire
station.
department,
Yeah.
okay.
'Cause
Right
they
out
dumped
front.
They dumped all
Yeah.
their garbage in there and never got a dumpster.
That was their authorized staging area for when they were putting everything together. I know there's a lot of stuff to clean up, and he didn't respond to the Dale Street one, so tomorrow when I come back in, I'm gonna respond to him saying, that's great. What about these other items though? Because I never got those answers yet either.
Because all the like I said, all the conduits held up with
Yep.
black tape.
Yep.
Well, of course, it went through winter now it's all falling down. So, as it's falling, it's just gonna keep leaning more.
I'm just reading you the version they have. I won't read you the comments before that. I will tell you that our electric superintendent is very engaged and had a relatively heated conversation with them about getting back here to resolve some of that stuff.
Okay, and then on, the Oglesby storage, not the one that we're gonna have a meeting for tomorrow, but the one that's there presently there now, across from the A&W.
Okay.
So they've been there working, and they're raising the grade of everything with gravel, and I don't see a building permit anywhere.
There is not a building permit. I went there to stop them.
Okay.
Unfortunately, they were getting ready to pack up and go, so I told them that they could not return to the site until that building permit was obtained.
Okay,
They've not gone through any of the permitting process. That starts tomorrow.
okay, because they've already raised the grade of the land
Yeah.
by about 8 inches.
Wow.
So do we realize that you can't take your water off of their land and dump it onto somebody else's by raising that grade?
There is a site plan that will be looked at tomorrow by the Plan Commission. And it'll be up to them to determine whether or not there needs to be anything
But that
done.
shouldn't be that way, because it shouldn't go to the planning commission, it should go to the building inspector, because they're changing the lot.
In a commercial thing like that, we have our city engineer review the site plan, and then the Plan Commission also takes his recommendations and looks at them to make sure that everything meets code and stuff like that. So that's going to happen tomorrow. They jumped the gun. They shouldn't have.
So is the city gonna do any,
And
Finding or
if,
anything?
well, yeah,
Well, there-
if I did that on my property,
There
I
are,
know what would happen.
Absolutely.
there are penalties in place, and, you know, obviously, we will discuss that when they come to get their building permit.
So you're gonna discuss the penalties tomorrow?
That won't be part, the Plan Commission or the Zoning Board of Appeals don't have anything to do with that. That'll be
Yeah.
within our office.
Okay. So that's all I have.
Good point to bring up.
Appreciate it.
and I appreciate you bringing it up, so
Thank you.
I'll be on it with her tomorrow. I mean, I've heard a little bit about it, but I didn't realize that they raised the grade that much, so if it requires them to haul it out or for us to charge them for us hauling it out, you know, I do take it serious, so I want you to know that.
You can't raise the grade.
No, you can't,
No.
because somebody else
Shouldn't.
inherits that water, and then you have flooding basements, and then we have folks standing at the podium you're standing at,
Correct.
reading us the riot act about it, so I get where you're coming from, and I'll speak with you after the meeting a little more, if you got time.
Okay.
Thank you.
And as I
Thank
said,
you.
the zoning administrator, when she found it, she took action to address it. I think that was actually on the holiday, right? Was that the day before, or was that today?
Today's when I actually got there. I was
Okay.
alerted to it late yesterday afternoon,
Yep.
so.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Here, Tom.
I got something to say, because I was the guy that made that asinine remark. I was pissed,
It's okay.
in plain English. We made a big deal about making a conference room so it'd be ADA accessible. We put the mayor in the basement, which is not ADA accessible. And I shouldn't have made that remark, that I did. You make remarks sometime when you're a little bit upset. I got a little something else to say. We talked about, coming in and not authorizing and going ahead with this solar facility. What about the neighbors? For over 50 years, there's been a 138 kV tower line in back of those houses. There is a plan for a fence, for grass, for everything. For the last couple of years, the city has had a load shedding project in town because we may not have generation and we may have to shed load. This happened 2 years ago. We're not immune to it. In fact, the site plans for the state is not to have a baseload plant south of I-80. We need solar energy. Am I a big fan of solar and wind? No. I think we're going to end up going with smaller modular nuclear units to keep up the load. You got to have baseload plants, but you got to have a supplement to keep the lights on. You know, I got one other question. We built this conference room that's ADA accessible now. From what I understand, it isn't what it's supposed to be. So now what are you gonna do?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any other comments? All right. Commissioner reports. Commissioner Stefanelli.
I want to start off by recognizing the Oglesby boys basketball team for their accomplishments. Those boys made this city proud. They are a great representation of Oglesby, and I wish them all a great future and more accomplishments. Secondly, I want to apologize to the residents and anybody that's had to witness the interaction. I've always said that we represent the city up here, whether it's us sitting up here or the person that's speaking at the podium. And I think some of this stuff could be handled very easily. I try to meet with the mayor on a weekly basis because anything that we disagree about, we can work it out amongst ourselves, and it doesn't have to be disagreeable up here. It didn't go very far yesterday, so as you noticed, I just sat here quietly. I don't appreciate any of it, and I don't take any pride in this kind of thing, and it needs to stop. Aside from that, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Hughes.
I would also like to congratulate the boys basketball on their accomplishment. Other than that, I don't have anything, Mayor. Thank you.
Commissioner McDermott.
I'd like to congratulate the boys, 7th grade basketball, most consecutive wins. That's awesome. Everybody's looking at them as being second. They're first. Everyone, if you got any signs anywhere that you know is getting faded, please let us know. Let me know so I can get them replaced. As far as the incidents and everything, we do have to work together. We're trying to get along, I hope. Hopefully we can be better in the future, and that's all I have to say.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Baldridge.
I'd like to take the time to apologize to everyone. I'm very sorry. I got a little heated on it. I'd also like to thank Dom. It's a good man. After that, I'd like to congratulate our state runner-up 7th grade champs. A great game and even better 3 years. Great job. I think we're a little greedy, but we're all looking forward to the 8th grade season. We would like to wish the pool manager, Ms. Terry Essel, a very happy retirement, as she will now have time to enjoy her grandchild and help out with Essel Farms. Thank you for all you've done for our pool in the city of Oglesby. Also, happy birthday, Becky.
Just for the record, I didn't do it.
I said it first.
All right. Anything else? All right, thank you. All right, Mayor's report. A couple things. Echo what everybody said. I'd like to congratulate the 7th grade Washington boys basketball team for how well not only they represented themselves, but how well they represented Oglesby. I really appreciate that. It was fantastic to watch. I know we had a lot of the bars and restaurants in town here streaming it. I was able to watch it from one of the local establishments, and I'll tell you what, it was exciting. It was exciting to be able to do that. Double overtime. I mean, I know it's frustrating to have a loss like that, but to go that far and you know, the other thing I'd like to thank not only the kids, but the parents and all the residents that came out to help support, cheering them on when we did the kind of like the pre-parade, and then we had the parade afterwards. It was really fantastic. And for those that weren't there in the gymnasium when they were presented their awards, the principal, Merrick Burns, had a wonderful speech. You know, because I think for some of these kids, it was heartbreaking. After 3 years, this was their first game they lost. So they've never experienced loss before. That's how good they are. So it's a great learning experience and a great motivational. They handled it with grace, and we all look forward to their 8th grade year. Next thing I want to talk about is volunteerism. I talked about it a little bit last time at the meeting. In the next newsletter, on the back page of the newsletter, is going to have all the various organizations that we have within Oglesby that you can be part of if you'd like to have some time, whether it's an hour a year or an hour a month or something that you can get involved with. We got a lot of great nonprofits and a lot of things, opportunities there. The small town atmosphere is what really is needed by the community here. And when a lot of these organizations are starting to lose their membership, it's causing these services that we expect for baseball, for softball, for all these wonderful things that we see. They're going to start slowly going away. So if you have the time, I highly suggest and ask that you take the time to volunteer and be part of that. Reach out to your community. The last thing I want to make a mention of, I mentioned it last time, but I just got word today that the documentary, The Ice Climbers of Starved Rock, the one that was done by Matt Klein and Kyle Peterson, fantastic piece of cinematography. It is now going to be available on Sunday, March 3rd, 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. at the Starved Rock Visitor Center. So if you haven't had a chance to see it yet, please do. The big thing I'm hoping that I'm going to find out is where it eventually is going to be streamed on. There's a lot of documentaries streamed on many services. The moment I find out about that, that's where I think the real economic value is. Share that with your friends, your relatives, people that don't live in the area. They're going to see that, and I think it's going to help make people want to come here to visit to see some of the beauty that we have. Other than that, that's really all I got. We do have executive session next. There is one action item after, but I do not expect the executive session to be long. It is under 5 ILCS 120/2C2, collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees. Can I get a motion to go into executive?
So moved.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye?
Stefani.
Aye.
Kern.
Aye.
Double overtime, yeah, I mean, that was a 1 in a million game.
Yeah, even the thing.
So thank you. Yeah, thank you.
All right, we are back into open session. Can I get a roll call, please?
Baldridge.
Here.
Udis.
Here.
McCormick.
Here,
Stefani.
Here.
Kern.
Here, number 24, approve buyback of vacation time for Police Department. Udis. We're still in open session. Thank you.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion that we allow our police officers to sell back, I guess, or us buy back 42 hours of vacation time during this fiscal year, or carry over up to 42 hours into next fiscal year. However, we will not offer a buyback if they carry it over. Does that make sense?
Everybody understood that motion?
And it sunsets
Except
after
the
the
loose
year,
one.
It's
correct?
the buyback sunsets after this fiscal year.
Okay.
And 42 hours must be used during the next fiscal year.
Yes, they would still only be able to carry over 42 hours, which is what they can do right now. It will not be increased.
Okay.
Okay. Everybody understand that motion? Any concerns?
and this is a one-time only.
This is it sunsets after this year. Yeah, this is a one-time offer.
I'll second.
Second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Stefani.
Aye.
Kern.
Aye.
I do want to just make one statement. We're doing this to alleviate paying time and a half, so it's a win-win for the city. We're paying straight time instead of time and a half. That's why we're going this route.
Okay. Next up, number 25, adjournment. Can I get a motion to adjourn, please?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Stefani.
Aye.
Kern.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you. We'll get you another thumb drive.
Sorry, Jason. I have one more place to look. I keep forgetting to look in one code.
How many sports? I see. I only have 3 sports books. Do you have like tons of